Hi, everyone, and welcome to Change Chats, the podcast to navigating your change management career. My name is Judith Bueving, and today we are here with Nissi Ozigbu. She is a change management strategist and also a leader in the field extra-ordinaire, I would say. She helps executives, change professionals, and business owners strengthen their influence so their expertise translates into commercial results. And she has over 15 years of experience leading complex change across global corporates, governments, and high-growth environments. She specializes in behavior change at scale, systemic decision-making, and building trust long before outcomes are visible. She does speaking at conferences. She also does roundtables and panels, and she coaches senior leaders and runs the highly recommended Strategic Change Leader Program for change managers. And I would also say, Nissi, that you really are a master in personal branding. Thank you for being on the show. And I'm excited to dive in.
Thank you so much for having me. Really, really looking forward to this. I've been listening to a couple of the podcasts. So really, thank you so much for having me.
Actually, we have about 1,000 listeners, I would say now. So it's been growing quite a bit. Yeah. And people are listening in from over 25 different countries. So I thought that was pretty cool as well. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So I wanted to start off because you landed in change entrepreneurship after you've had over a decade of experience in the corporate environment. And so I'm just wondering what inspired you to make that move, and also what keeps you motivated every day to keep going.
Yeah. So I was thinking about this question, and if I was to summarize it, my transition and my motivation can be summarized with the somewhat cliche phrase, be the change. I think within change management as an industry, we have gotten so used to talking and telling people what good change management looks like, this framework, that framework, when change is now so continuous that the only way for it to be truly sustainable is for our leaders, for our teams, for our practitioners to start showing up differently. That's the only way we can sustain change. And so that's why I made the move. I decided I didn't want to be in organizations telling people how to do change anymore, even though that's necessary.
Yeah.
And now I work with practitioners to tell them and to coach them on how to do that better. How can you show up? How can you be the example? How can you be the role model? Also, so that you have to tell less, because I think practitioners across the world would agree unanimously we're tired of talking and we're tired of saying the same things again and again and again.
Right. Yeah, it's a good one.
Different way. Yeah. It's a different way for me to land the message. How can I really help my organization and the people that I'm supporting to make transitions, but also how can I help them build capability, because I'm not able to be attached to every single change. So everywhere we look, people are asking, how can we navigate change better? And my true belief is the only way that we can do that is by having visible examples of people who are regulating themselves, who are able to regulate other people, who are good role models, who are able to show the direction an organization is going, which is now why I do the work that I do around personal branding, positioning, influencing, but also that you can have stronger commercial results. We want to make and retain money, and we want happy people whilst we do that.
Yeah, nice. Okay. And how long have you been into this journey? Is it 2 years or a little longer? Yeah. And what motivates you every day? Because I can imagine that I started this podcast about a year ago, and I remember checking the numbers every day in the beginning. And, you go through ups and downs of, oh yeah, this is great. Some people are listening to, why am I not hitting the 1,000 yet? And it can be demotivating sometimes, I would say.
Yeah. So thankfully, when I first started, so prior to me leaving contracting and prior to me leaving my permanent engagements, I had started posting on TikTok. And that was about 3 years ago. I started that, not consistently, but every couple of months I would post something, and people were reaching out to me and saying, and not just practitioners, not just change practitioners, I had a head of midwifery reach out and say, look, we're doing all these changes. I don't know what I'm doing. I had students being like, oh, I'm studying, but I hear change management is a thing. So just a range of people reaching out to me and saying, your videos are helping. Could you do something on X, Y, and Z? And that's what kept me going in the beginning. And now it's the depth and breadth of the conversations that I have that keep me going. So next week, for example, in my diary, I've got a meeting with the head of learning and development because I'm designing a leadership development program, and it's a mixture of workshops and content for their LMS. I've got meetings with two founders who are wanting to strengthen their personal brand because they want to be able to make sales with a lot less friction. And change management, if you were to just put it at the highest level, you could say change management is about creating good stories, about reducing friction in business change, i.e. because people don't know. So I'm taking that expertise and applying it to the business world. So I've got two founders who are having those conversations with me. I have a call for my strategic change leader program. So that's the coaching sessions that we run once a week. And that keeps that even talking that's going to be my week next week makes me so excited,
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. I feel like the framework thing, I feel you. Like the reason that I started to look for community was a little bit because I thought I need to get out of just the framework and the literature. I just want to connect with people that are also doing change management at different companies and like what are the challenges they face and how do they solution for it? Because I don't just want to look at frameworks. I want to look at real life examples. But the field was not really expanding.
Yeah.
And what you're saying right now with the sales and the personal branding, it's kind of nice that you're tying in different fields,
Yeah.
and developing the discipline in that way.
Thank you. And I
Yeah.
think we need to, because my ambition is in 10 years' time, we shouldn't see change managers in business just in the way that we see them now.
Mm.
I haven't got the stats on this, but I would estimate about 80% of change managers in industry are doing your change impact assessments, your stakeholder impact assessments.
Yes.
They are bolt-ons to projects, which is useful. It's necessary, but it doesn't cover the breadth of what we do.
Yeah.
There's so much more that we can do to change the system. And when I say system, I mean the whole organization, So we know that's people, that's policies, that's processes, it's culture. There's all these different things that are all changing at once. You can't just change one thing and expect everything else to stay the same. Yet change managers in organizations are usually positioned tactically to focus just on this one thing. Everything else is none of your business. Focus on this one thing. And yet we still expect the return on investment to materialize. And
Right.
there's
Right.
arguments about how successful we are at that, but we know that there's more work that can be done. Let's say this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So my approach to change and what I'm hoping to encourage in the industry is, number one, we need to start shifting our positioning. That tactical placement that we had has been good because also change management is quite a new industry. It hasn't been
Right.
around as
Compared
like
to others. Yeah.
or, so it's quite new to industry, but that was our baby phase. We know that organizations, by and large, they understand tactical change management. Great. Now let's start moving in our more strategic realm. Let's start partnering with organizations to really get into the thinking and the fabric of the organization. Because change is now continuous, start inviting change managers in as strategic partners.
Yeah.
Invite them in when you're doing your strategic planning for the year, because actually you need change managers to say, this is too much. Not after the business case has been signed off, before,
Right. 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 Yeah.
when the change is already on the table and you've got the whole project team in, it's very awkward as a change manager to say, this project shouldn't be here. We shouldn't be doing this project. You then just look like a pessimist, So
Right. Exactly. And you shouldn't be as a change manager.
exactly. So then our hands tied, If the only time you're hearing a change manager's input is when budget has been assigned and you've deployed the team, that's way too late.
Right.
So my ambition that to start sharing the breadth of experience and knowledge that we have as change managers. There's so much we understand about business processes, psychology,
Yeah.
neuroscience. Where we're lacking sometimes is the business acumen and
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
financial depth. So my background is in operations management. My first 5 years in industry were operations management. And
Okay.
so I'm upskilling us in the change space on that. But actually, there's so much that we can give more holistically to organizations. And so that's why I have this approach now of how can we partner with organizations to help them be the change, to help them transform their whole systems. That means us showing up differently, our personal branding and our positioning. It means us supporting the leaders to show up differently and to think about change differently, to move beyond thinking about change as projects and to now think about it as the environment, the culture,
Yeah.
work in that way. So I think we're on a journey in
Yeah.
the change space,
Yeah.
and it's an exciting one to be on.
Yeah. Very nice. So I want to dive into the operation management bits in a little bit, but I also wanted to comment on the being brought in. So for a long time, I was doing projects at clients for change management, and I'm a general change practitioner. So I've done tech implementations, I have done behavioral and culture changes at companies, and now I'm working internally. I have to say, the project that I'm on right now has been one where I've been brought in really early, like
Right.
even before it started to be communicated to the organization. And I've seen such a change in how much impact I can have, which is
See?
so nice because it's especially what you're saying about the processes and everything around it. So, for example, like performance management, we're asking for a behavioral and cultural change. We want to tie it in somewhere in the performance management cycle. But that's not just a quick fix that you can just do like this. It typically takes 1.5 to 2 years before that even also gets approved, right? Through HR, especially when you're a large organization, you need to communicate with global and align.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed that to be
There you go.
involved way earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit more about the operations manager role, and then how did you get into change management before you went into change entrepreneurship?
Yeah. So my very first job, I was a PA, and PA is a form of operations management. But I did that for 18 months. Then I got a formal operations manager role at a financial institution in the UK, and the Financial Ombudsman Service, highly
Yeah.
regulated, obviously financial services, 100% quality checks. And so I had a team of between 15 to 20 people. And it's in that role that I got my training in all the people management skills. So, time management, team management, performance management, equality and diversity, all the basics that you would expect for a leader. But then I
Yeah.
also got my training in project management and change management. I was in that role for 5 years, and having my own team and portfolio of projects that I was looking after, that I was the change manager for, it put me in a really privileged position. Number one, because we had daily and weekly targets, and I had to make sure I was assigning resource. We could see how it was impacting on caseload, on finances. So I feel really blessed to have had that experience because number one, I've seen firsthand the impact that projects, not even just change management, the impact that projects have on the day-to-day operational lives of teams, especially in highly regulated and target driven environment. And so I've got an appreciation for how a project plays out in real time. I think
Yeah.
people who are professional project managers and professional change managers, they've never led a team, they've never worked in industry other than as a change manager or a project manager. You haven't seen what it is to be part of business as usual, you know?
Yeah.
And
True.
so
Yeah.
I feel very blessed to have had that experience for 5 years managing my team and work with that. Secondly, I saw the impact of good and bad change management. And that's what has given me such a strong belief that if you are going to work on any change as an organization, one of the first things you need to do is ensure that your people managers are skilled, because the strength or lack thereof of relationship between manager and team members massively impacts on the success of your projects. So
Yeah.
as I got better at being able to tell my team stories about the journey that we're going on, as I got better understanding their goals and where they want to get to and how I could tie in, okay, we're working on this project, Sophia, and I know it's part of your 2-year journey that you want to achieve X, Y, and Z. So if you can deliver B in this project, this is going to help you. A lot of managers don't have that kind of conversation with their team members. And so
Yeah.
they're constantly just saying, we're changing this, we're changing this, we're changing this, we're changing this. And that's a terrible relationship to have. Absolutely terrible. Why would you expect anything to succeed? So it really showed me that true change management, and some practitioners will hate me for this, but true change management comes down to the strength of relationship between manager and team, you know?
Yeah.
as practitioners, we're just coaches. We're on the sidelines. We know we do not deliver the change, do we? We're not the
Right.
do the processes. We're
Yeah.
supporting other people to do that. We're facilitators, coaches at best. We're never
Yeah.
the we shouldn't be. And so it got me to see that up close and personal. And yeah, I do feel really blessed to have had that experience and to understand how businesses work. Because also operations, that's the engine of the business, isn't it?
Right.
So everything that I look at, even something as simple as a change impact assessment, when I'm coaching people via my strategic change leader program or one-to-one, one of the questions that I ask is, why do you think it's a good idea to go to somebody in the business? So whether it's your head of finance or your finance team leader or somebody in operations, anybody, why do you think it's a good idea to go to them and say, I need your help on a change impact assessment? Why do you think that makes sense to them? In the same way, if a finance leader came to you and said, oh, I'm doing year end, I need your help. What
Right.
do you think, Judith, if they asked you that?
Yeah. I mean,
What do you think you'd be able to contribute to?
so I would think like, oh my God, finance.
Exactly. But, ultimately you'll be thinking, what's this got to do with me? Like that's
Right.
in the same
Yeah.
way, change managers, we go to people and say, oh, I'm doing a change impact assessment. I'll need your help. And they're thinking, but that's your job. I mean, I'll be polite and I'll come back. I can't see why this has got anything to do with me.
Yeah. So it's a constant storytelling and connecting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we internally know it's a change impact assessment. Actually, when we're talking to them, we should be saying, look, I need to understand your business processes so that I understand the support you'll need to make the transition.
Yeah.
The same thing, different language, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And only via working in the business, starting my career in that's why I think in that way. Because I always think, well, when I was an operations manager, if somebody in projects or change came and told me about this technical document that they use, I'd be thinking, well, why are you talking to me about it?
Right.
Clearly skilled in doing it.
Yeah. And I think it creates some kind of empathy as well when you have
Yes.
seen both sides. Because right now, again, like I'm internal and then I sit more in the organizational structure rather than in the business. So not
Yeah.
at the client. And then I hear people say, oh, but like this person doesn't have time. He doesn't show up. And I'm like, it's not her top priority right now. Top priority is to make money or to hit her targets or, you got to think about it from that perspective. And
Exactly.
yeah, there's definitely a disconnect there sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah. And I love what you say about it's not a top priority for them right now. Their top priority is making money and hitting
Yeah.
targets.
Yeah.
So you know that this piece of work, let's stick with the change impact assessment, it should be a priority for them. But you haven't tied it to what they are prioritizing. So if
Yeah.
you went in and said, actually, we're doing something that could impact the way that you're making money and meeting targets, I'm pretty sure they would make time.
Right. Or say right now, it would be, hey, I really need your input because this might finally change that performance goal that's not working for anyone. Right.
Exactly.
Like, yeah.
Exactly. We have to tie it to what's front of mind for them.
Yeah.
I find in change, there's too many practitioners that expect the business to fill the gap. So you're
Yes.
talking about
Yeah.
a change impact assessment and you're expecting them to make the translation because this might affect my processes. Currently, they're not going to do that. They're so busy. If they don't even
Yeah.
have time to have that conversation, why are they going to go through that whole translation? They're not.
Right. Right. Because we do the same, right? Like
Yeah.
I was telling you about finance, like I shut down when it's about finance. I'm just like, oh, no, 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 no. That's not my thing. I'm
Yeah.
not a numbers
Yeah.
girl. No.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. But if it would just be, like, hey, I just need to get some numbers from you. How did you do? Then I'm like, oh, okay, fine. Sure.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice. Okay. Thinking a little bit about, we have change practitioners listening from different generations. We have people that are starting out, and then we have the millennials, zennials, boomers, even. What would you advise to them? Like, so to the people that are just starting out and to the people that have already been in it for a while? Or are you saying, I will advise the same to everyone? That's also possible.
Okay, two pieces of advice. I'll do everyone, then I'll do newbies and not so newbies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So to everyone, I would say do a bit of research on the way that businesses work. Like understand what is a business? What are the different type of business models? You've got for-profit, not-for-profit, CICs. Understand the different business models because also change in those different environments will work differently. We always
Yeah.
talk about the what's in it for me. You need to share the what's in it for me. A corporate what's in it for me is usually different from and wildly different to a not-for-profit what's in it for me, which is very different to a governmental body what's in it for me. It's not a one size fits all. Understand, like, what is a business entity? What are the different types of business entities? What is it that they prioritize within those organizations? What are the risks that usually come up? You can find this all online. Business
Right.
didn't yesterday,
Yeah.
there's a lot that put a prompt in any of your, Claude, Gemini, whatever it is, and it will give you a summary. That would be number one for everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Practitioners who have been in the industry for a long time. And if you talk to them about, like, how strong is your business acumen, they'll say, oh, because it's not really something they're focused on. So that would be everyone. For
Yeah.
people new to industry, I would say get on LinkedIn and start connecting with people who have already been in change for a while. So you've got Judith here, you've got myself.
Yeah.
And put in some time to talk to them about, like, the reality of the role, what the challenges that they're facing, and see if they have any individual pieces of advice, because you need to get comfortable. It'll do two things for you. Newer generations, so research says they struggle to have business conversations because they haven't been brought up in the office. You know how when you
Right.
and I entered industry,
Yeah.
we were in this 5 days a week. You learn
Yes.
how to talk, you learn how to hold eye contact. These are not skills that people that are entering the workplace now have, because they are, largely from home most of the time.
Yeah.
There's this whole thing, and I'm going largely on stereotypes here. So you might be listening and you're a younger person getting into change, you're saying, oh, that doesn't apply to me. Then in that case, I'm saying just strengthen your communication skills.
Yeah.
Push yourself in your comfort zone. And for people who have been in change a while, I would say find somebody not of your generation to connect with and give yourself the homework. I am going to learn something from them. I'm
Yeah.
going to challenge a belief that I really, really hold on to,
I love
because
that. Yeah.
funny, I had a multicultural conversation about change sometime last year, and I had Monica and Matura on there, both Gen Z practitioners, and there was a lot that they were saying around sustainability and ethics of
Yes.
change. And I was like,
I never think about that.
exactly.
I have the same, yeah. Oh my gosh, I had like a couple of weeks ago, this consultant that I'm working with, she is absolutely wonderful, and we did workshop preparation, and I printed out speaker notes for myself.
Yeah,
And I printed them out for her as well. I was early in the office, I prepared everything, and she was just like, "Oh my God, my Gen Z heart just died."
there we go.
Why? She's like, "That's not sustainable."
Yeah. You see?
But yeah, it's so good. Yeah.
There's always something that we can learn. Never get to the point where you kind of think, I've done this for ages, I've seen everything before. No, there's always something that you could learn. I really had to stop and sit and think when they were talking about ethics and sustainability and change. I was like, this is not really something I would have thought about of my own accord, but thank you for bringing it to me. It is something that I need to
Yeah.
consider more strongly.
Yeah. Well, and it's also how you then engage folks like that. Because if I would have more Gen Zers in the room, luckily this was with a lot of older partners, so it didn't matter that much. But they would have not even listened to me, probably because they were just being very sour about all the paper that I printed. Oh gosh. Yeah. Thinking about any bumps you've had in your career, have there been any along the way?
There
Or
have.
times that you were like, I don't know about this field anymore?
Yes. There's one scenario that stands out to me. So I was working as a kind of national change partner,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a project that we had. I won't give too much because otherwise, if you go on my LinkedIn, you'll know exactly the organization and what. But we got a red rating on an audit.
Oh,
Yeah, not very good. And I really took it personally, even though before we were given this red audit, my SME that I was working on the change was not very engaged. The sponsor as well was MIA, and I'd continued kind of escalating it to my director at the time.
yeah.
But I really, really took it personally. And while there are things that you can learn, obviously, I now also know trying to keep things off your project report. So I never spoke badly about like my SME or my sponsor or gave that constructive feedback on my reports, I would only do it in dialogue to my manager. So according to our reports, everything was, not great, but from
Yeah.
a sponsor and SME perspective, there was nothing in the audit trail that was showing that actually they're not fulfilling their role, because I felt really bad about putting that. I should have, you know?
Yeah.
And so that for me was a big wake up call in terms of my responsibilities and there being a difference between like being nice and being kind. I was trying to be nice to them and it buggered up all of us in the process. Whereas actually
Yeah.
the kind thing to do would have been to get this actually reported so that they could have had their more stern word and the more stern feedback given so that they could amend their behaviors.
Yeah.
Hopefully their working would have changed to save us all lots of kind of rework and things going forward. So
Right.
that was a massive, massive wake up call for me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So that made you kinder and less nice.
Exactly. Sometimes you have
Yeah.
to deliver the hard messages and it will hurt in the moment for yourself and for them, because usually none of us like to give people feedback that's saying you're a bit rubbish, actually. Nobody likes to give that. Well, there are some who like to give that kind of message, but I'm not the type who likes to give that kind of message.
Yeah.
But from a performance management perspective, personally and collectively, these are conversations that need to be had. And
Yeah.
I think what I found, if it wasn't my team that I was managing, I would have been able to do it no problem. I think because it was my peers and my superiors that I had
Yeah.
to give this message to, I struggled.
Yeah, that's hard. Yeah. Okay. Thinking about getting online. So you went on TikTok, getting more people online in change management. I've seen you also being pretty vocal about that. You want people to get more online, which I really enjoy. Once I started researching, because I was over the frameworks and the articles and everything, and I just started up looking people on LinkedIn that are posting about change management. For me, that was a whole new world. Like, oh wow, there's quite a bit out here already, which is really nice and insightful. It's not the typical stances that people take on change management, but you've also been pretty vocal about getting other change managers online and other change practitioners, which I think is amazing. And at the same time, just playing devil's advocate, wouldn't be that be your competition?
And I need more competition. That's the point. At the moment, it feels like it can feel like, it doesn't feel like it for me now, but
Hmm.
when I was working, it felt like I was talking into a void, like there's
Oh,
nobody else that I could point to and say, look, this is what they are saying. There's this other person. It's not just me that believes that this is a good way that organizational change is managed,
hmm.
but credibility is also built in numbers. Why do we trust when somebody says they're an accountant? Why do we trust when somebody says they're a lawyer? Because we have so many examples that we can point to say, oh, okay, that's what an account, that's what we don't have as many examples to point to in the change profession. And we need that. I
Yeah,
always
good one.
say,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
so that's why. So I always say, even from like a neuroscience perspective, our brain is like an energy saving conservationist brain. Yeah, it's looking for patterns. So we want to meet somebody, and immediately I'm scanning you to think, have I met somebody that's like you? What do we have in common? Because I'm looking for threat. Like what's different so that I can, but I'm also looking to feel safe in your presence. I want to know that I've encountered somebody like you before.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
A lot of people haven't encountered a change manager before. So how are they going to feel safe in your presence, in a change manager's presence? So this is about collectively. Remember I said everything about me is about being the change.
Yeah.
If we want people to respond to change management more positively and to understand what it does and the value it delivers, they need more exposure. Hence,
Yeah.
more of us
Yeah.
need to get online and be talking about what we do.
Yeah. 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 Okay. Very nice. And for the people who are starting out there with that, because I think I've heard you say on another podcast that when you were starting out, you didn't really get much traction. And I think that's a challenge and a fear that people have, right? Okay, I'm gonna put myself out there. I know someone, she's brilliant. She's been in change management for a very long time and has a lot of good things to say, but she is afraid to post. She's just afraid to put herself out there. Any words of wisdom?
I would say it not very helpful. I've got a helpful and unhelpful piece.
Let's do both.
Unhelpful bit is you've just got to do it. You don't get better at swimming by reading about swimming. You have to actually get in the pool and put the reps in. You don't get better at, building muscle by reading and watching videos of building muscle. You have to get in the gym and build muscle. It's the
Right.
same with posting online. So that's one thing, just get up and do it. The second thing is get community and get support. So there are ways, especially if you're going to write on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is not an academic journal, neither is it Instagram. There's ways that you need to create and position your posts. If you go on LinkedIn and you treat it like every other platform, you're not going to get traction because it's made to be kind of scannable. Then we quickly take something away. I do have a program where I support people with that. You can go online and you can purchase it. So I would say get support. There's a lot of people, and I see this in the change community a lot, actually. I
Hmm.
wouldn't say we're the most innovative, and that's not being the change for a space that is supposed to be helping others be innovative. We're not very innovative. Everybody is rushing to get their qualifications, and you need your qualifications. Get them, but then what?
Yeah.
It's like people
Right.
get and then do nothing else. Professional development stops after the qualifications. What
That's
is that?
true. Yeah. Yeah.
know? You've got people like me, and not just me. Obviously, I'd love for you to come to me, but I run programs on building your executive presence, your branding, your storytelling. How good
Yeah.
is your storytelling? How good is your presence? If you're in rooms and people are still only inviting you in after decisions would have been made, surprise, your presence is not that strong. It's a
Right.
hard,
Exactly.
but you have
Yeah.
to sit with where you're at. And why would it be that strong when all you've done is you've done your qualifications and then you've been in industry for 10 years and you're hoping your 10 years is going to speak for itself? No, you need to speak for your 10 years and you need to get good at speaking to those years that you've put in, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
would
Yeah.
say, friend, get the support, invest in this in the same way that you would invest in any other area of your life that you want to get better, invest
Right.
in yourself in getting better in this area.
Yeah. 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 And I'm thinking, I will still probably have to work for 40 years. I mean, I hope, I wish for myself that I learn something at least every year because my gosh, if I have to do the same thing for the next 40 years, no, for me, that's not exciting at all.
No,
Right?
what should it be?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So basically, like the message to the change community is still please
Yeah,
go online, be the
yeah.
change, and show up
Yeah.
better, more innovative because right now, there's not a lot of innovation out there.
Exactly. And at first I didn't want to post on LinkedIn because I saw that there was a lot online about just change management doesn't have a seat at the table. Nobody knows what we do. Nobody. And I committed to myself that I'm not going to just go online and post that. I need to be adding value and helping people to get the seat at the table, help people with
Right.
positioning.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So for me, it's that acknowledgement that if you don't like the environment that you're working in, what are you doing to change it? And complaining doesn't count.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you can complain, but then also come with a solution, right? This is
Exactly.
what I tell people in my change management projects all the time who are not willing to move yet. I'm like, let's do just a session where we complain,
Yeah.
but you have to come with one solution as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Um let me just quickly peek through all my questions, but I feel we went through almost all of them. This one. I have two more questions and then we are through the end.
Mhm.
From your perspective, I did read the reports from the Change Management Institute on trends that are going to be shaping change in the next 5 years. What do you think is going to have the biggest impact in the change management space? And I don't want to say AI. Maybe we can choose something differently.
Other than AI, okay, it's AI adjacent.
Hey, that's okay.
It's something that I've been talking about a lot as we've been having this conversation, but who change managers are as people. As AI grows and as the outputs of change management, so, your stakeholder assessment, your change impact assessment, your engagement plan, AI can do all of those for you. So
Right.
now that's no longer your badge. That's no longer your stamp of approval. That's what a lot of change managers would say. Oh, I'm here to deliver this. I'm here to deliver that. Okay.
Yeah.
Now that's been automated. So what are you here to deliver?
Right. Yeah. Very good points.
Yeah, that is the biggest change. And so
Yeah.
what we should be saying is actually we're excellent connectors, we're excellent communicators, we're
Yeah.
excellent facilitators, we're
Right.
excellent risk identifiers. Are you building that skill set? Can you hand on heart say you're excellent at all of those things? Because if you aren't, finish the sentence for yourself. People always say, oh, is AI going to put me out of a job? No, it's not, but it's going to force you to strengthen the human skills that you've claimed to have all along.
Right. Right. That you claimed, yeah. Now you don't have a change impact assessment to hide.
Exactly.
Do have to say, I generally find people in change management are people.
Yeah, they are. You can be
Yes.
people, but you can be a people person and not
Yeah.
have impact, you know?
Right.
So,
Yes,
like
yes, yes,
a good,
yes.
the bad way of saying it is, are we all good time girls? Here for a good time, not for a long time, you know? You don't want to gain that reputation. Oh, okay, yeah, our change managers here for vibes. They're going to make people
Yeah, you're
feel good,
right.
have great conversations. And then what? Are we
Right.
impacting outcomes?
Yeah,
Are
did we
we
change
impacting on
anything?
the way? Exactly.
Right. Yeah, yeah, good one. Going to the last question, and this is something that I always do in all of my episodes, but a change smart move. So practical takeaway basically for anyone that's listening at this point in time. What would you recommend that they do?
I would recommend you go online, Google yourself,
Hmm.
and have a look at what you find. And the role that you are going to play is this role play. You are somebody who works with you and
Yeah.
doesn't trust your work. So sometimes you're
Oh,
like, I'm working with this person and I don't really know them. Is it just me or is it just they're not good at their job? Let me go online and see what else they've done. Now, what you find, does it calm you down or does it be like, yeah, I knew they didn't know what they were talking about?
my gosh. So putting that on you, like what would, because I'm sure that you went through this exercise, but the first time that I guess you did this, like what were you hoping that they would find for you?
Well, so I have a background in music.
Oh,
Yeah. So I knew that what you were going to find was all music things first. So I said,
oh,
well, actually, what this is showing me is I need to increase my digital footprint of my change knowledge, which I've been
yeah.
doing aggressively. So now you would have to search a couple of pages to find my music. If you'd have done that search 2 years ago, the first thing that would have come up was my music, which is
Yeah.
not good, is it? Oh, then you finally
Well,
sing. I mean, it's nice, but it's
yeah.
like, well,
Yeah. It does not really vibe with what you would expect from a business perspective. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Nice. Okay. Well, thanks a lot for the conversation and all your insights. Where can people find you? Because I know you have a very social online presence. So let's plug it for you.
thank you. You can find me if you're a change practitioner listening to this or you're curious about change management. Probably the best place is my LinkedIn, Nissi Ozigbu. Check me out there. Otherwise, if you're a business owner or you're just senior professional wanting to increase your presence and personal branding, then it's my website, thegrowthhut.co. My website has links to all my other socials, so TikTok, Instagram, and so on, which I'm on. So thegrowthhut.co.
Check her out, and I will make sure as well that I link you in all of my show notes and my socials as well.
Thank
Thanks a
you.
lot.
Thank you so much for having me. Really enjoyed this conversation. Such
Same
thoughtful
here.
questions. Really, really appreciate
Yeah.
it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.